Hey, you guys. I know it's weird. It's one of my favorite pictures. I know I talked to Sean, and he's got a friend that came in. His name is Martin. I like him so much. He came in for a bad reason. Like um, he had a family emergency. So I wanted to talk about this because it's something that I really believe in, and I'm surprised Minnesota isn't on board with it. Um, they have these cannabis club cards, and I was talking to Martin, and I remember when when I was working at the old, well, it was the Abbott Hospital, and then it turned into the Carolina Center, and then um, I know this being ripped out of time business is like, anyways, it turned into the Carolina Center, and they used Marinol, which was fine, except at the time I thought, why would you give somebody who can't eat or drink something by mouth for nausea and vomiting to make them eat? Because they would just throw it out. And so I was like, Native Americans and, well, a lot of other people were using marijuana at that time, and it helped. And it wasn't harmful. No one ever said, oh, we've got 150,000 deaths from marijuana. That never happened, you know. And so I was just like, you know, why not do that? I told Martin a good idea that he should do that, make him a lot of money. Oh, I know. I really like Martin too. He's so nice. I love that he's creative and that he's, an artist and he's got like passion in what he does. I told him what what will happen, with people who are creative and, you know, who have struggled in their life. I know that good things, you know, that's how it's been in my life. I struggled and fell and had things and I gave things up and I had things and I gave them up. And I'm not saying that this is what anybody else should do, but my own struggles made me, you know, well, it brought me here, even though I've told Sean, somehow I got ripped out of my own time. And I'm sorry if that scares you. I'm sorry. And I'm not blaming anyone. I said I probably did it myself to save where I was from. Um, so, Mike, um, so it's been really interesting, a couple of, last night and today. And I just was surprised by all the changes and differences. I love it. It's beautiful. I love um, people here, and I told Martin I love the people who hate me the most. And I don't know why. I've always been like that. I just, you know. So, anyways, that medical marijuana or legalizing marijuana. What, what is so? Get over it, you people who don't like it. Don't do it if you don't like it. I mean, don't smoke it, but just, you know, it's it's a natural medicine that isn't controlled by a pharmacy giant who's trying to capitalize on people's fears. Not me, not Steven. I'm trying to say that it's perfectly fine. I don't smoke it because I can't. When I smoke it, I can't hear. I'm always like, what? Huh? 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 um. So I like this. This is like, I haven't done this one before. I also like believe in like reconciliation. And I know some people don't like that. They're like, you know how much work we all could get done if we just like came together and like put down differences for a minute and said, okay, yes, we have differences. That's okay. Now, how do we make those differences come together so we can all get on the same page and go forward? It's not something new that I've said. It's just, I've always believed that our greatest strength is when we all come together and we look at our differences as opportunities to grow together. That's what I do. I look at our differences as amazing. Like, that is what's so beautiful about it. You know, it's just, that's what's so beautiful about differences, is that you can look at each other and say, okay, we're different, but on some level we're still the same. And we can like come together and figure out a way to go forward. And I challenge people or others to like look at each other and say, okay, there's something about you or me that I don't like. Now let's see what I do like about you. And you might be like, oh, I like the way you look. I like the way you smell. You know, I like this and that and this and that. And then you're like, oh, I might not like this about you, and I might not like this about you. And that's okay to say that. You know, that's what growth is about, is to be able to say, I like you a lot. I want to see these things change. And it'd be like, oh, okay. Well, let's figure out a way to do that. Instead of like, you know, I don't know. I don't know. Today, I was sitting here and there were crows and pigeons. I thought heaven was going, woo! But, you know, the crows and the pigeons are just, you know, they're the same kind of birds. One's just, you know, I don't know. I went out last night with Sean and Martin, and I was surprised. I was like, there's not that many people out. You know, are not many people out like dancing and coming together and like, you know, I was like, so different from what I remember. And I know I'm not supposed to scare you, but I know that I'm not. And I could prove it. I can prove it. And maybe you already know. Or maybe they already know. But I'm grateful. I'm so grateful. And I don't know. I think that in many ways we have like this golden opportunity to like think about our differences. And maybe that's what I challenge you to do. And if you can't do it in person, write it down and then sit next to yourself. Just, even if it's by yourself, sit on a chair and then move to the next chair and say, now read what you don't like about that person that was just sitting in that chair. And you'll be like, oh, I don't know if I can do that. And you're like, maybe you can. You know, put yourself in a different perspective and just, you know, even by changing location, one chair to the next, maybe you can say, okay, well, I wrote down these things, and then say it to yourself who was sitting there and go, okay, well, I didn't like what you wore yesterday, or I didn't like the way you did this or reacted to this person yesterday. Or and then you get in the other chair and you're like, well, you didn't like me for, this reason, or you didn't like me because of this. And if you do it by yourself, just, like say that I'm sitting here, and then I sit over here, and then I go, and then I look back at myself like this and go, okay, well, definitely take a shower. I know I'm just joking. um, I have to make fun of myself sometimes because it helps. And so I would challenge again, not just to like look at that as a tool for growth. Just look at it as something that you can like use that in your work, in your school, in your education, and then be like, I can do that in more than one application. I can apply that to many more things in my life. Oh, I was gonna like this is a friend gave me this painting, and then I had it framed at this frame shop, and I've had it forever. It's like it's been forever, really. And then, well, I don't want to take around the whole apartment. Maybe I will, because, well, and there's my great aunt got that thing, and she got it in Jerusalem. And then, well, I saved some other. Oh, so a friend gave me that rosary beads with the holy water in it. Oh, a long time ago. I can't remember. And there's that statue. I thought she was cursed at one time, but I kept her because somebody was like, well, Stephen, you keep cursed things all the time. And I was like, well, somebody's got to be there for them. And then these guys, I used to hang these on trees. These are, I love these. And I know you're thinking, why in the world would you put a door knocker on the inside of the door? Of course you're like, well, it's Steven. He's going to do something crazy, I love it, though. I mean, it's just like, I love it. I wanted to put it on the outside of the door, but I thought, clang, 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 clang. Oh, this is where I put it. Grandma and Grandpa's bell, Indian bells, and then I put Grandpa's cross, Grandpa Philip's cross there, so that they were together. So every time I came in the apartment, I could say, Grandma and Grandpa, thank you. Or just acknowledge them in essence, in spirit. I know I had them on my door and other places too. And then I didn't give them that meaning, but I always knew that it was my grandmother. That was important to her. And that they were from India. Well, I'm kind of weird. Started off talking about legalizing marijuana and then moved on to like some spiritual things. That's how I am, though. I was doing some things outside with the computer, and I love doing that. I might do it again. I might do it at night, though, this time. I'm going to try that at night with my old eyesight. I can show you some other things. I know, it's just I don't do this very often. These are my... Oh, hold on. This thing sometimes... I know, it's like kind of really personal, like inviting you into my home. It's like, parade of homes. Now they used to do that, like just... I rearranged these recently. There's... I'm not going to share the rest of them. There's a couple more. And I've already gone through some of the... I know, honey, there you are. I love you. Yeah, oh, and then this mirror over here. You've probably seen pictures of it, but it's so, different. It's funny how I got it in Mexico, and I took it back on the plane with me, but look at how Scandinavian it is. You know, asking yourself, Stephen, who gives you these stuff? I'm like, well, there's a few things that I've given away that I thought that other people needed at the time. You know, like my chain mail. I thought this one woman, lady, I thought she needed it, you know, for strength to protect her. And I gave this other rosary away to somebody that I thought had cursed me. I guess it turned out that, you know, whatever. Oh, there I am. Right there. I know. There you guys are right there. Looking at you. So pretty. There's my grandma. Great grandma. Right there. I'm making... Oh, I should videotape it, but I'm not going to because I'm going to make this lentil split pea something. Indian style. You know, I'm always like... I was looking at a cookbook and then I put it away because I was just like... I know. Oh, just some other artwork. Oh, you've probably seen that. That's where Sean works, down right behind me here. Right there. And I'm usually on the couch here. I don't know, I've never really done that before, been so personal about my space. Or our space, Sean and I. I won't go in there. I could go into the bedroom, but it's just like grandma's used to be. You know, that's because I wouldn't like... I'm not going to get into that. Oh yeah, I can, because it's not Tuesday yet. Well, that's where your bedroom is going to be. You know. It's like that ripple in space that happened to me. Ah! I know, you guys are like, oh my god, what is he talking about? Like, but don't be afraid. I know you guys are like, he is such a weirdo. Thank God he's here, because the other people have been worse. You know? I don't know. Oh, I'm in the room now. It's just... Ugh. Oh, and this is where I do a lot of work, too. I just am like... Oh, there's a fire alarm. You've heard that in videos, you know, it goes off all the time. Sometimes it's just like... Ee, 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 ee. Oh, there you are, too. You know. I got right in front of you. Probably shouldn't have been so personal, but I was like, you know what? You know what? Well, there's some artwork that I got in Mexico once. Not that one. I took that at a protest. You know. Everybody was there. You know, they were people, Jewish people, Palestinian people, American people, people from Canada. There was like, it was like a holy celebration to say, we don't need war. We don't need it. We need peace, 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 and love, love, love. So if you don't believe in that, do that exercise. I dare you. Look at somebody that you don't like or that you don't understand and say, I don't understand you, but I can get to know you. And that doesn't mean I have to 100% like you, but I can respect you for like having an opinion and sharing it. I do that all of the time. I'm like, I don't care if you don't like me. I celebrate the fact that you have an opinion, and it can be different than mine, and that is just fine with me. And you. It should be fun with you, too. And my favorite band is... I'm listening to it on Sean's computer. I know. I never go into it, but he had the YouTube thing up. Oh, I was going to say, here's another thing. You know, besides Marinol, when that came out in the early 90s, I think. Well, maybe we were using it in the early 90s at the Carolina Center, at part of Ebenezer. And before It was the Abbott Hospital before that. But there were other drugs too, like Zofran and Compazine and um, droperidol was one, but they had to put a black box warning on that because it was stupid. We used it all the time, and people were fine. It just put them to sleep. Um, and it really helped. Like if they were sick, they would just be like, "Oh, there's so much better." And they had the black box warning on it because the doses that they were giving in anesthesia were so high, and we were just giving like 0.125 or something for nausea, and that was a miracle drug, until the FDA was like, that's because it worked so well, and they wanted them to use more expensive drugs. If I could tell you how many times I said, these pharmaceutical companies are ripping off people. I watched this movie once about these companies that would go to Africa and they would do trial drugs on people, on African people. And the United States was like, well, we're not going to try it on our people. And other countries were the same way. We don't want to do that. So, I don't know. It's something to think about. Like, not like I'm asking people to, like, rally. I'm saying just think about it, If you can get by, they sometimes people go in with a toothache to the hospital and you get like, 20 Percocet, and it's like, some clove oil and some other stuff may also help. They sell the Oragel, the baby stuff. It does help with tooth pain. Not that you can't take the narcotics. You should if you need it that bad, because pain is subjective. It might be pain from different reasons, and that's what I always knew as a nurse is like, hey, these people are coming in here because something else is going on in their life. And it may not be the pain that's related to what their symptoms are. It might be an underlying pain. And some of the nurses were like, well, we don't care. We just treat them and treat them. And I was like, you ladies are bitches. Put yourself in that patient's bed, and then I'll come in and ask you what the problems are and see how you like it. They wouldn't. At all. So I'm just saying that, and it might be different here. I'm not sure. Having not been here before. So I hope you don't mind like looking at the tour. I suppose I should ask Sean if it's okay with him, but I really want you to take some ideas from what I said and apply that in your lives and say, okay, even if you have to meet somebody that you don't like, say hi and be like, and not that it has to be like this, sunshine factory. It can be like we have disagreements, but on some things we all agree. That would be my vision. To be able to be in the same vicinity with somebody that you disagree with and be, that's okay. I'm trying to work on that in my own self. I told you already, and I don't know if I put this on tape, but I released that negative energy back, and I got my true self back, and maybe that was my learning process. Maybe that was my gift to be able to like People were in the past always going, Steve, you need to be so angry, 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 and get rid of that. And I was like, I don't really need to do that. And then maybe that's what I needed to do here is just feel it and then be like, you can have it back. And, I pray in my own way. I pray that, my walk and what I did, well, it was a lot different there. What happened with me, with Stephen. I mean, it was a lot different. And I was strong enough on each leg of the journey to be like, forgive, 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 forgive. Not forgive, forgive. Not forgive, forgive. And I don't mean to say it like, I have to forgive people again. But it's just like, sometimes it takes me a little bit, and I'm like, okay, all right, I can forgive. I can move on. Doesn't mean I forget. And I think that's the thing, is that I think some people would like me to forget, but my memory is so long in some things, and it spans back to like some past lives that I talked about before, or some past feelings about past lives. I don't know. If you don't believe that, you don't have to. Stephen believes it. And I can see it sometimes around me where I'm like, well, and I can see kind of sometimes outside my body looking down on me, and I'm like, oh great, here I go again. I'm like looking at myself, from back here or up here, and like in here. That's, I think, the hardest thing for me sometimes, is to look at myself from in here. And sometimes when I've said, okay, dive inward, I can actually, look within and just be like, sorry, this screen is just like, I don't know. Anyways, I wanted to say thank you to Martin so much for coming here. I know it was under, his own family emergencies, and it's never easy to deal with family emergencies. But he brought that card, and that reminded me how I thought Minnesota was behind the times, really, on the legalizing marijuana. And the medical community knows darn well the benefits of it. And if you don't agree with it, don't smoke it. But if you're a farmer and you're going to grow it, or if you're going to have community groups that decide, like, we're going to band together as a community and, I don't know. Minnesota is so liberal on so many things, and we help so many people. What about helping our patients? And what about helping, awaken into this, it's going to happen anyways. So we might as well take a stand now and be like, yes, you're right. It's been far too long. And let that federal government worry about D.C. Since they have not been doing very good. Everybody tells me. I asked Sean once, I said, what about getting some normal people in there? I don't know if that ever happened. I mean, it would make sense, though. They wouldn't be career politicians then. They could just be like, hey, please let me go home now. I've done my 2 years. It's been longer than 2 years. Yeah, it's because you guys love me. Or Steven. I love me. Yeah. Anyways, I don't know. If you guys think of something better, you know, you can. I would I would give you my phone number, but I think it's on the internet already. My email, Stephen P. for Philip Lindquist at mac.com, mac.com. And don't be cryptic. I'm tired of figuring that stuff out. I gotta decipher stuff all the time. All those visions and stuff. I'm like, if I have like 100,000 things in my mind, then I'm gonna be like, ugh! Not that I'm not grateful. I am grateful. Whatever. I love it. I didn't think, like, went dancing last night, and I was like, I love dancing, by the way. Um, yeah, it's funny to take a shower. I got up this morning and cooked for Martin and Sean. I was like, it's so nice cooking for people. You know, I'm like, if it's just me and Sean, I still cook, but it's like, I love having people here to cook more. It's like, ooh, you know. So, I like other things too. Oh, crazy. All right, I love you guys, and the rest of you, and me. Love you all.